Fundamentals of Public Speaking 101, Speech number 4, Persuasive Speech. This is my audience: Thursula, Brandon, Larry, and Breon. Thank you. Today my persuasive speech will be on-site child care and campuses. When I started the research for this speech, my main purpose was because when I did my analysis on my fellow students, the main thing that everybody had in common was that we had children for probably 80% of the students in the class. So I did a little research, which I already knew, but child care is at an all-time high now. It's one of the top reasons probably that most working adults don't go back to school, for lack of child care and the money to pay for it. Most people that are trying to go back to school are trying to go back to school to get better jobs for themselves because they want to make more money. Most of the time they're living paycheck to paycheck as it is, so child care is something that is not feasible just to go back to school. When I did my research, I was surprised to find out that there are over 150 campuses that offer on-site daycare. But one of the things that they don't offer are discounts for students with high GPAs, or for the students to have the option of having the child care taken out of their tuition and fees, well, out of their grants and loans, to be included in their tuition and fees. And this is something that I think would make a huge difference in helping working adults go back to school and being able to afford child care. My main points today will be working adult parents needing child care to attend school, campuses working with the students needing child care, working it into their tuition and fees, so there's no out-of-pocket expense for the student during the semesters, and the cost of child care being determined by the students' credit hours and also maybe even their academic performance. My first main point, working adults needing child care. Basically, most families rely on the students that are going back to school, the working adults, for their financial support, emotional support, and physical support. So not only is it hard on them going back to school and having this added burden on them, but they also have to worry about their children. So if they don't have adequate child support, I think it would be kind of hard for them to concentrate on school. Also, many are reluctant to return to school because their need for their families is greater. So, I mean, if you have to make a decision on making your family suffer because you're taking this time out of your busy schedule to concentrate on school, or just working and supporting your family as you have been doing in the past, it's kind of a hard decision, but in the long run, I think it's better for you to go back to school and to further educate yourself. But like I said, it's hard when you have to have child care. Also, having children and trying to study is extremely hard, especially when you have young children and you have to set aside that time. I think having on-site child care would make it easier for these parents because they would be able to schedule that into their studies or their time on campus and not have to burden their family. My second point, campuses considering adding child care into the tuition. Once you set your schedule and your classes and you have your lab fees and your books and all that, you know what tuition and fees you're going to have. So you have your grants and maybe you take out a loan, okay? I think that if the campus knows how many credit hours a student is going to have, they can base how much study time they're going to need and maybe work that into their tuition and fees. That way the student is not worrying about it during the rest of the semester, having to come up with the money to pay for the child care. It's already included in tuition and fees and paid for up front at the beginning of the semester. The child can be on site, on campus with them while they're in class, in daycare, and the problem is solved. My last point, child care costs determined by credit hours being taken or academic performance. I think it would be a good idea to base the amount that the child care is going to cost by how many credit hours the student is taking. That way it's a fair rate and it's not something that is going to make the student be paying more out-of-pocket expenses than what they can afford. That way they can base maybe their credit hours around what they can put out. Also, maybe a discount being offered to the student for a high GPA. I myself was a Business Honor Society student. Maybe for students that have made that commitment to campus and school and their work, be offered a small discount or some kind of bonus with the child care. I don't know. And also another idea that I thought of, maybe offering an internship through the on-site daycare for students that are going into child care or teaching. So it could be a good program for internship as well. In conclusion, I believe that child care will be, the need for child care will be forever existent, and it's something that should definitely be looked at, because working adults going back to school is definitely something that is on the rise right now. People are definitely considering going back to school because they want to make more money, they want to provide for their families better than they have in the past, and they need help doing this. And I think an on-site daycare that provides those types of suggestions that I made in my speech would be a good opportunity for them. College for the working adult, it basically in 2010 has to have some kind of program in place for child care. I think it's definitely something that's needed and needs to be looked into further. The statistics for the cost of daycare are rising steadily. Next year there'll probably be even more. Just from 2008 to 2010, you can see the cost of daycare for infants, toddlers, and school-aged children has went up $10 at least each year. In 2008, it was $90. In 2010, it's $110 for infants. So it's steadily rising each year. I just believe that on-site child care offers convenience, and it would make the students feel like they're coming to this campus as working adults is something that these campuses is rewarding. So that is my speech.